Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we're going to be answering some of your common student loan refinancing questions. So hopefully these will answer the questions that have been lingering in your head for some time. But if I don't answer your question, make sure you leave it in the comment section down below and I will do my best to help answer those for you. Now, these questions and answers are going to be coming from a website called earnest.com, which is a company I've actually partnered up with in the past before about student loan refinance. They've done a great job with a lot of people I sent their way, so I want to help answer some of the questions that you might be asking. Now, I'm going to have a link to their website if you want to check them out in the show notes down below. But with that being said, let's go ahead and check out some of these questions. So I'm going to go ahead and read these questions off of the screen here, but I'm also going to be giving my 2 cents of the process as my wife has gone through and actually refinanced her student loans. So of course, the very first question and the most popular one is, should I refinance my student loans? And it says on here, it says refinancing student loans makes sense for many people if they are eligible. For starters, student loan consolidation, which is included in student loan refinancing process, simplifies the management of your monthly payments. Refinancing allows you to consolidate both your federal and private loans. Select a repayment term that makes sense for you and often lowers your interest rates. Of course, that's a key word there, often. It says here at Earnest, the entire application process is online and you could have your new lower interest rate loan in less than a week. And it also says that borrowers who refinance federal student loans should be aware of the repayment options that they are giving up. For example, Earnest does not offer income-based repayment plans or private service loan forgiveness. So that is something that you definitely want to be aware of when it comes to switching from federal loans and going with a refinance with almost any other company, because it's not just with Earnest, but most companies don't have those options when it comes to the public service forgiveness loan. Now, it also does mention here, and this is a really important thing to note as well, is that it is possible to consolidate federal student loans with a direct consolidation loan from the Department of Education, but this will not allow you to lower your interest rates, and the private student loans are not eligible for that process. So that's of course something else to consider, and I know it might sound like there's a lot going on in that, but essentially it's saying that if you're doing your research and making sure that it's going to of course benefit you when it comes to lowering your interest rates, that it might be beneficial for you, but you also have to take into consideration the benefits that you might be losing, which of course might be the loan forgiveness and or the income-based repayment options. But a lot of these other companies such as Earnest have different payment options available, just not directly the income-based payment plans, because they do have other ones available. So the next question is, when should I refinance my student loans? Now this one of course says that the sooner you refinance, the more you can save. The longer you hold on to your loan at a higher rate, the more interest you're going to accrue, which is of course very true. It says even if you are in a grace period. Now, in case you don't know what a grace period is, this is the time in between you graduating college and actually having about 6 months before you have to pay your actual student loans. Now, for most people, they don't know that the interest is actually already accruing during that time, even though you're not paying. So a lot of people are happy about that they don't have to pay, but they're actually causing themselves more harm because they have to pay more interest during that time. So now it says, that being said, you must be employed or possess a job offer to be eligible to refinance with Earnest. The more your financial situation has improved since you took out the loan originally, the better your financial offer will be. So of course, making sure that you have a job offer, which might be difficult for some people right out of college, but it is possible. And then of course, doing what you can to improve your financial situation as an overall means from when you got the loan, which is typically a lot easier because when you took out the loans, you usually were a freshman in college, maybe didn't have any experience or any jobs at the time. So hopefully that would be the case for you as well. So the next question says, can I refinance just my high interest loans? And it says, once you are approved, you are automatically approved for a total eligible student loan amount listed on your credit report. When you are ready to accept your loan, you can choose to refinance less than the requested amount, as long as it's above $5,000 or up to 105% of your approved amount. So you can actually only refinance your highest interest if you so chose to, or you can go through the process of refinancing your whole loan that you have. Now this of course would work out for some people who maybe have a really low federal student loan, but maybe a really high private student loan, and they just want to refinance that portion of it. So you can go ahead and do that. As they mentioned, for at least Earnest, it does have to be over $5,000, but I know a lot of refinance companies are kind of the same way, that they had to have a certain amount that they're refinancing to be able to go through the process. So next question is it possible to refinance both federal and private student loans? And the answer is absolutely. It says when considering refinancing your federal student loans, it is important to review the current protection and benefits you are granted with those loans, and understanding which of those you may be giving up when refinancing with a private lender like Earnest. And this is true for all lenders, which essentially means, like we talked about earlier, giving up potentially, the student loan forgiveness plan in case you are eligible for that, or certain other ones like the income based. Now, one big one when it comes to a lot of companies that they give up is the actual ability to have like disability forgiveness or death forgiveness. But the nice thing is Earnest is actually one of the very few companies that actually still protects you in those regards, so you don't actually give up those features and benefits like you do with a lot of other refinance companies, which is one of the reasons I really like them and support them. So next question, and this is a really important one, is what credit score do I need to refinance my student loan? Now, the different lenders have different requirements, of course, but it says for Earnest, a minimum credit score of 650 is necessary for approval. Now, if you're thinking that 650 might be a really high credit score and you want to learn how to actually improve that, I'll actually link up in the show notes down below for you a video that I made talking about how you can actually improve your credit score by really paying attention how it's actually affected. And believe me that just a little bit of an improvement on your credit score can really go a long way, and it's actually not that difficult if you're paying attention. So to finish off that question, it says typically the better your credit, the lower a rate a lender will be willing to offer to you. But at Earnest, your credit score isn't the only factor we consider when evaluating your application. It says that they look at the data that other lenders don't, like your savings, your education, your earning potential, to offer a fair rate that are customized to you, which is another thing that I really love about Earnest, is that they don't just look at the credit score, they look at a lot of other factors in your life. And I think that's a really great way to go when it comes to evaluating somebody's ability to pay back their loan and not just a number on a screen. So the next question I know is a really important one, and it says, does refinancing student loans hurt your credit? And it says, in short, refinancing student loans generally does not hurt your credit, but when getting your initial rate estimate, all that is required is a soft credit inquiry, which does not affect your credit score at all. And it says once you determine which lender has the best offer, Earnest, they hope, of course, you'll complete a full application. The application does require a hard credit inquiry, which has a minor credit impact, typically a few points. However, in the months and years after refinancing, your credit score should see steady improvements as you make on-time payments and pay down your debt. So of course, this is a really important thing to note, that yes, soft pulls actually still can, overall still potentially have a small ding on your credit, but overall, because you are refinancing, lowering your interest, being able to pay down those loans faster, and possibly even on time, that it can actually still really benefit you, even if it's a small ding in the short term, but actually improve your credit score overall in the long term. Now, the next question is, how do I actually refinance my student loans? And of course, the answer here is with most lenders, you start with a rate estimate, which doesn't require that hard credit inquiry like we just talked about. And it says, when comparing rates from different lenders, be sure to pay attention to additional key differences such as fees before making a final decision. And then of course, also checking and doing comparisons from different companies. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm gonna have a link to Earnest's website in the show notes down below for you, so you can check them out and see if maybe you can lower your interest rates. And if you wanna see the top 5 student loan companies, check out my video right over here, where I actually go into detail on all the benefits for all 5 of these top companies. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.